Thank you for joining, everyone. I'm Stormy41, meteorologist, joining you here from the Stormy41 Weather Center. Right now, the main thing that we're talking about, I'm gonna change that. Give me just a few seconds here. Okay. So, let's transition here to my other monitor. Our main thing that we're watching here for Monday. Monday does seem to be a pretty typical setup, but it's not your typical setup that you would see all the time. Alright, so let's go ahead and time it all out here on your model run. So the first thing that we see here on Monday. So let me get my chair situated here. God. This chair is to move. But we could see a change in the timeline, and we could even see these storms move in on Tuesday across these areas. So I'm going to go ahead and just play this here. We'll take you here to Monday. So, thankfully, well, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go here to this typical setup. But most of the severe action does seem to stay contained on Tuesday, from what the models are showing. But I'm going to get this pulled up so I can draw on the models. It's going to show up over here. So let me... Alright, I'm trying to get something pulled up here. It might not want to work since I'm on a live stream. I guess it's not going to want to work with me. But anyway, most of the severe action does seem to be contained on Wednesday. So okay, so again, I'm just gonna say something over here, but just keep talking. Okay, so this just doesn't want to work with me. Okay, but I'll have to use my cursor. I'm gonna zoom this in a little bit more tighter so we can see it better. Okay, so, but most of the action does seem to be contained near South Bend, but, again, what I'm watching here is when these storms are off to the west on Monday, they're still picking up that forming action, and then as they move into this environment where it's favorable for severe weather, then that's when we get concerned. You see that severe potential. Thankfully, the models are picking up on this starting to weaken, but we really don't know yet because our convectives do show a pretty good amount of shear or cape for these storms to depend off of. So that's not what we want. We want low cape. And you see when these storms are off to the west, there's still a lot of cape for them to depend off of. So that's why we're really getting concerned with this, is because these storms could definitely fire up at any given moment. But when this cape, the cape or the shear really breaks apart, really, you see that major difference in between those two scans. So it's definitely could. There's no confirmed tornado. I'm sorry about that. Okay. No confirmed tornado. I'm so sorry about that. But you see, that really doesn't want to fire correctly, that cape. And then when these storms are over sort of the Evansville area there, when those storms are over that, there still is a high potential of cape in the atmosphere. But our supercell composite, that's what we're worried about, is where are we going to have supercells? And there definitely is a major chance for supercells on Monday. Monday does seem to be more severe than Tuesday when these storms are off the west. But our supercell threat really diminishes, especially on Tuesday. Tuesday, I think something happens in the atmosphere where everything sort of breaks apart. But one thing that we're going to depend off of here is if our cap breaks. So that what that is that's basically a lid for the atmosphere and makes it not produce severe thunderstorms. It still can produce severe thunderstorms. Don't get me wrong, but there definitely is a lower chance than if you had a broken cap. Basically, I'll show you a graphic here in just a second. Okay, I'm going to show you what I mean by cap. So a cap is a layer of warm air. So what is a cap, or what is the cap? So this is basically an amazing graphic here. So I'll try to show this as the best as I can. Okay, so here we go. Okay, I'm going to load this up here in a different tab and play it, or show you it. Okay, so here's what a cap is. Basically, it's pretty explained easily. So when we have a capped atmosphere, we should have the pen tool on. I don't know how to get it pulled up. Okay, but I'll have to do it this way. But what a cap is, it's basically sort of like a lid for the atmosphere. So what is the cap? So when we have a capped atmosphere, we have the temperature profile. The surface, we have air going into the thunderstorm. But right above that thunderstorm, we have warm air. We have a sector of warm air. And that's basically preventing the storms from doing anything. And then on a sounding, or a weather model sounding, basically what we look for is where the sounding takes a big dip to the right and then goes back straight up again. So that's how we know our cap is there. But with enough heating or additional lift, cap breaks and storms fire in a snap. I'm gonna clear that off. So okay, but with enough heating or additional lift, cap breaks or lid pops off, and then the thunderstorm is at night. So then you have that warm air being fed into the middle of that storm, and then your cap basically breaks. That's when we have storms of fire. And then on a sounding, then you have a smaller dip than what you would have with a capped atmosphere. So with the capped atmosphere, the sounding goes more off to the right, and then with the broke cap atmosphere, then the sounding goes more to the left. Or a shorter dip, basically, is what I'm meaning. So that's what we could see on Monday. We don't really know if that cap will break or not. but we definitely need to watch that in case that cap breaks anywhere across the nation on Monday, because then that's when we're in trouble for severe thunderstorms. We usually never use the European model for weather or severe weather, but I'm gonna try it here and see what it shows. It definitely does show this line starting to pick up a strengthening trend, but I think for the most part, the models are starting to take a dip or smaller or go less than they were thinking earlier. But if I go back here to the other model run, it shows a whole different story. So this would be 6Z. This is, again, our old data. It does show it being less than we were forecasting. And then from the first weather update of the models today, again, shows that weakening trend. So the oldest we can go does show it's weakening or partially strengthening. Again, most of the models are picking up on most of the severe action staying to the north of the Ohio River. But again, we just really need to depend on if that cap breaks or not, and then we know we're in trouble. So one thing I'm going to look at here is the low level relapse rate. Basically, it's just more energy, and certainly do have a lot of it there on Monday. Okay, so I'm going to look at here the wind speed in the atmosphere for some sort of lift. When we want a cap to break, it has to have some sort of lift for it to break. So definitely do have some gusty winds there, around 32 knots, but probably enough to break a cap, unfortunately. But again, we really never really know until the day of. If you have any questions about Monday's event, please comment down in the comment section. I'm watching your comments in the live stream on my other monitor right now. But again, right now, if you're tuning in, we're tracking Monday's severe weather potential threat. I'll go ahead and explain everything I explained earlier. Just going to repeat this a few times. But one thing that we're depending off of on Monday is, what is the cap? Well, this doesn't really explain what a cap is. It explains more of how a cap breaks. But this will probably explain a little bit more or a little bit better. 4 people watching right now, so if you have any questions, please comment them down in the comment section. I would love to answer your questions. If you are concerned about what's going to happen on Monday. Okay, so this will explain a little bit more better. Okay, so basically this is very blurry here. I think I'm gonna see it. Here we go. But basically what a cap is basically, what is a cap? So warm air rises freely into the thunderstorm when we have a broken cap. So a broken cap is when you have this energy or moist air being fed into this thunderstorm, and then that air basically goes around -20 up. But a cap is above a thunderstorm, and what a cap is it's basically where you have a layer of clouds, and then you have that warm air layer right above it. Alright, so we're just going to stay on here for just a little bit longer. I've been out here for 20 minutes almost. But basically what a cap is it's basically a warm air sector or layer above a thunderstorm basically prevent any more energy from being fed into that thunderstorm, for it to fire a little bit more better. I do live streams because alright, so basically going back here to our water runs again. Some of the models are picking up on this being less of a system. None of these models will go out that far, unfortunately. This will only go out about Sunday, I bet. But this won't pick up anything, unfortunately. Okay, that was our 18. Let's see. Okay, sorry about that. But basically, what we, again, I'm going to talk about this here 24/7. The, Norman, Oklahoma, when they issue these, outlooks, they make a text for it, and it tells us what something is going to be about. And they're saying that this cap could break in some places, but the models now are really starting to pick up on nothing from this. It really does not. We don't really know, because the atmosphere, again, we've had 80 degrees for the past week. Rain in some places today. So definitely a wild ride of weather across this area. And then if this does really happen, it will be catastrophic. There will be multiple tornadoes, possibly. Again, all threats are on board. We don't really know what threats are on board right now, but from what they're saying, all threats are on board. Every single thing that you could imagine you could face or is going to happen from these storms if this 30% chance does play out as they're expecting it to. So you definitely need to have a plan in place. Alright. I'm going to show you a graphic here. Just a storm timeline. I'm sure you've seen it before. Nothing horrible. So I'm just going to show you here, just in a few quick seconds, here a storm planning timeline of storms. After the storm, before the storm. I'm sure you've seen it before. Okay. Maybe I have to do it this way then. This is not my photo again. Okay, here we go. So, okay. Alright, so storm planning timeline here. I'm gonna take that bottom bar off here. I'm just gonna put everything away. Just to make this a little bit more clear. I see you live. I need to turn that back on. Okay, so a storm planning timeline here, so that's on your screen right now. So a few days out, if the forecast calls for severe weather in a few days, you need to start preparing now. Make sure that you have the emergency supplies. Know your safe places. Basically, if you're getting ready to get hit by storms on Monday, you need to be doing this section. This section there, the first section. So a few days out, if the forecast calls for severe weather, start preparing now. Make sure that you have emergency supplies. Know your safe place. Have a communication plan. The day before, adjust plans. Make sure your phone can see wireless emergency weather alerts. Ensure your shelter is clean and accessible. The day of, be aware of any active watches. A warning may be issued at a moment's notice, and you may actually almost have seconds to take action if a tornado warning is issued for your area. Remind your family of the communication plan. Know how to evacuate and or get to safety from wherever you are. Know how to or get to your or get to safety from wherever you are, and when a warning is issued, you'll have seconds to take action, like I just said there earlier. So I'm going to leave this here on the screen, and again, this is just keep there. But again, this is covering on your screen. That's covering Monday. This is covering Monday. That's why I'm loading this up. So I'm going to turn that back on, and I will turn on my music here. And we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. I appreciate you for tuning in, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your Friday evening. Tomorrow I will come on here maybe around 6 the same time and cover the severe weather on Monday tomorrow. So again, thank you for watching, everyone. Have a great rest of your Friday evening. Stay weather-aware and subscribe, like the channel, and just enjoy Friday. It's the weekend. Enjoy your weekend, and have a great Friday. And I hope you are staying weather aware and have an amazing Friday. So, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my music here, and I'll end the live stream here after about 2 minutes or so.